Before we get started, I would like for you to join me in praying for the family of Cyrus Carmack Belton. That is the teen that was killed in South Carolina in 2023 by a Korean store owner. I know sometimes prayer seems passive, it seems not effective, but it really is, and it will help the family get through this because it has to be terribly difficult to know that your son was running away from a situation. I want y'all to forget this. The child, he was a child, he was running away, and this killer and his son chased this young man down and killed him. And what has come out is there are other incidences where he either, well, one video that I saw for myself, I've heard that there are other videos where he did shoot a person or he did shoot at people, but I saw a video online of him literally in hand-to-hand combat with girls. He was fighting girls. In this episode, I'm going to talk about how we can stop this from happening because this has happened before. It will continue to happen. And there is one thing, it's so simple. It is more simple than you think. There is something we can do to stop this from happening. And I want to share that in this episode. Welcome to Bad Thought Therapy. I'm Cherie Hardy, and I pray you and your family are well. It looks like, from where I'm sitting in my living room, it looks like it's going to rain today. I plan on being inside, but don't forget how you have the power to create your own sunshine. That's what I do every single day. And I hope you will do that too. So let's get started. This episode is going to be short and sweet. If you are new to Bad Thought Therapy, remember this is designed just for audio. So there are slides, and I create those slides just so that I can be on YouTube. But actually, this is audio. And so it's for your listening pleasure. So while you're walking or while you're cleaning, if you want to listen to something, this is the welcome to Bad Thought Therapy. And what I'm going to really try to focus on are the spiritual lessons that we can learn. And again, how can we stop this from happening? When I learned of this story, my heart just aches for so many reasons. Of course, the first one, the obvious one, is that a young man lost his life, and he didn't have to lose his life. And the evidence is very clear that the young man was running away. For argument's sake, let's say that he did steal the bottles or what bottles of water, or he attempted to steal them. Let's say, for argument's sake, that he did do that. Should he be shot and killed because of it? The killer alleged that the teen, Cyrus, had a gun. I think they did find a gun somewhere that was dropped as he was running away from the scene. He was running away from the scene. And because this man chased him down, he didn't have to chase him down. He should have just let it go. I'm a business owner, and I can tell you, when we had our full business and we were in the mall, we did have people steal some of our things. It didn't happen often, but it did happen. And it was sort of frustrating, but it was one of those things that's a part of business. It's a natural part of business. Somebody may take something and you write that off on your taxes. You don't try to chase the people, you don't try to shoot them down, you don't get into an exchange. But this man did this, and apparently, and like I said before, I saw a video that he was fighting, literally fighting girls, and you could see a gun on his hip. And there's a reason for this. And I just want to say this. We have to start to do things based on history. I know there's a saying that you're innocent until proven guilty. No, in some cases, people are guilty until proven innocent. These people have a long history, and this group is not the only one. They purposely move into African American communities, and they exploit these communities. They usually charge more. They are in the community, but yet you're treated like a criminal. you're not appreciated. I have seen it where, and this is just one group, but there are other groups that move in as well. The people don't even say thank you. You patronize. I've seen people patronize their businesses, and the people do not even say thank you. You pay their bills. Black people continue to pay their bills, continue to help them send their children to college, and they deal with this kind of behavior like the girls that I saw. I don't know what happened. Teenagers sometimes can be a little challenging, but they don't need to be hit. They don't need to be jumped on because of an altercation. And this is happening because of one simple reason. I say we because I do still go into one place. I'm going to talk about that. We continue to patronize these businesses, and we just have to stop. You can avoid this from happening by not going into stores and businesses that are not a part of your community. It's just that simple. When they put these businesses in our community, they do it intentionally. And I have seen up close and personal when I was in college years ago. This is almost 40 years ago. I'll never forget. There was a business that came into the college community, the area. They set up a grocery store and they set up a restaurant. And I saw things that were disturbing. I saw meat that wasn't labeled. I saw people speaking to some of the elderly people in a very insensitive way. And I remember saying something one time to the lady, and people took it because they didn't have a grocery store. A lot of times, when people don't have grocery stores in their community and they're in a food desert, these little stores become a place to get everything. And they know that. They purposely and strategically place the businesses in these kind of situations. And we have to be stronger and wiser. And we got to start walking on principle like, you know what? Okay, you got a car, maybe other people don't have a car. We're going to pool together, pull our resources together, and we're going to make sure that you get your groceries, even if someone has to drive, so many miles away, rather than go in their store. Do not protest them. Just don't go in the store. Do not say anything to them. Just don't go into their stores. And I have had my own personal experiences, but at the end of the day, that store, this is after the one I'm talking about when I was in college, because I think I was a junior when they moved into the community. They moved into the college community. And I think I was a junior and they were there and I had an incident where I went in and I was getting some food and the lady dropped my food. And I'll never forget, I could see the way they had positioned a mirror. I could see that something had fallen and it was my food. And I asked her, did she drop my food? And she said yes. And I said, no, thank you. And I said, can I get my money back? Now, she was upset with me and for asking for my money back after she was going to serve me food that had been dropped on the floor. I never went back. But here's what happened though. This is, because I believe that sometimes you have to pray away things that are evil. People in our communities, they don't love us, they don't really care for us, and but they'll use us to get money to fund their own lives, but they really don't care for us. So it's a money thing. So you're in a situation where you're going in a store and they're there because they can't go anywhere else. And I don't know why they wouldn't want to just, get a job somewhere. They don't want to, so they own their own business. I don't hate that on that. But then they come in our communities. They don't go in other communities. They come in our communities and then they give you, as I said before, I remember going back to college. I'm jumping around, y'all forgive me. But I remember when I was in college and I drank coffee. And at that time, my cream was little canned carnation milk. That would be my cream for my coffee. I remember going there and buying some, cream, and the milk was bad. When I shook it up, it was just bad milk. And that's because they sold products that probably had expired. And that's the kind of thing they do. And they take advantage of people who, may not have a car or it's convenient. That's why they call them convenience stores. It's right there because the store was right there outside of our apartments in college. And but after that one event with my food, I said, oh, I'm never going back with the can. I never bought any more cream there, but I can tell you right now, I can give you story after story after story, and I just don't go into places. Now, here are some exceptions. I will say this: if a place, because there's a hair place that I go to, and if they're hiring our people, they're putting money back into the community because they're hiring people from our community, I will go in that place. For example, there's a place, this is the only place I go to now, is where I get my hair stuff. And I will go in there and they have hired several women from our community. Now I will go there, but any other time I don't really deal with that. I don't eat. And let me just say this: if you have high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, any kind of health issue, stop eating their food. Stop going into these places and eating that food because it could be contributing to your health problems. Stop it right now. Here are a couple of examples. Another example. There was a place at a grocery store plaza that I frequent. And at the time, they had several people, again, same community, in this plaza. They had a hair place, got nail place. The first time, the people who owned the hair place the first time in this particular plaza, I would go in there, I would do my, go get my hair stuff, and then I would go grocery shop, and everything was there. They had the bank there, they had a whole bunch of stuff in it. Just one little plaza was just perfect. So I went in there, and for years, I got my hair stuff. One day, I went in there and I bought some sunglasses. And mind you, these sunglasses were only like $6.99 or $7.99. And I've been shopping in this place for years, a couple of years actually. So I got the sunglasses. I got a couple of pairs and it was all the same. They were different colors. I only tried on one pair and I thought, oh, these are cute. I like because of the frame. I really like the frame. So, but the white ones, when I tried on the white ones, I just didn't think it would go well with with my brown complexion. I was like, I don't think I want these. So I had not taken off the tag. I just tried them on. I went back to the place and I asked the lady, not for my money back, but I asked her, could I do an exchange? I said, and I had my receipt. I said, okay, I would like an exchange. I brought 3 pairs, but I just want to take this pair. And she told me no. And I remember being kind of shocked, like, and I think I even asked her, I said, you sure you saying no? And so she said, no, you can't exchange them. So I said, okay. And from that moment on, I never went back in there. And I thought about all the times I had spent all this money over the years, 2 years, 3 years, I don't know how long it was, all the money that I had spent in this shop, and I couldn't even exchange a pair of $7.99 sunglasses. She wouldn't even allow me to do it. I was a regular customer, and I just never went back. And that's what I did. I didn't talk to her. I didn't do a protest. We need to protest and stuff. I didn't do any of that. I just never came back. Well, eventually they did close. Of course, I said my prayers, but they closed. The nail place, which was next door, everything was at this, convenience store. Now, I can't be in nail shops because of the smell, the chemical smell. And I know they try to clear that smell out, but that really irritates my senses. So I just never could really sit in a salon. But I would every now and then, maybe like once every maybe 6 months, maybe twice a year, I would go get a pedicure. And I went to this one particular, same plaza, one particular nail shop. And I'd gone there for a couple of times, but I didn't go in there on a regular basis. It was really, I would say, no more than 3 times a year because I kind of do my own nails. If I'm going to do them, I do my own nails. Anyway, I went in there one time and there was a guy there and he must have owned the place. He really didn't do the nails, but he owned the place. So he said something, and when he said something, everybody looked at me. So I knew that he was saying something about me. Now, mind you, I'm a regular customer. The women always remember me because I always tip well. And I didn't think there was a bad place. It was okay. Again, I can't deal with the smell, but people went in and out. They're very busy. They always have business. They do good nails, okay? So when he said that, they didn't laugh. They didn't, but they all just kind of looked. And I said, Lord, I think that man said something about me in his language. And I didn't know what it was, but I said, I'm not going back. So the lady saw me one day passing by the nail salon. This lady literally followed me into the grocery store. She was not buying anything out of the grocery store, but she saw me. She realized I'm not coming back. She knew that man had said something, and I will give them credit. They looked at me, but they didn't laugh or agree with him. In fact, they looked like they were embarrassed. Now, of course, I don't understand that language. I do speak other languages, but I didn't speak that language. So anyway, she they looked at me and but she came into the grocery store and she was trying to let me know in her way, you can come back to the nail salon. And because you know what, not only did I get my nails there, I had gotten my lashes there one time done there, but I never went back. And that's how you stop this from happening. This has happened all over the nation. It hasn't only happened at convenience stores, these killings, but it has happened also at restaurants. It is also, there have been different incidences where there are fights and there are issues. I remember hearing about a lady in Ohio. She had gone to one of these restaurants outside of the community. She went in a restaurant, she got her some food, and her order was wrong. Uh, uh, I think the story went like she went back in to correct the order. She got into an altercation, y'all, and this lady ended up getting arrested over some wings and fries. All you have to do is stop going into these places. Just don't go in there. And let me tell you what, if you don't go in there, they don't make any money or they will make an adjustment. And this is my last story. Um, there was a restaurant near the high school when I first moved to Atlanta. There was a restaurant at a plaza near the high school where I worked. Now, before I came to Atlanta, I had never eaten this kind of food. I know this sounds crazy, but Atlanta is known for its wings. And buffalo wings. I never ate wings before I came here. So, everybody was going to this restaurant. They were getting these wings and fries, and they were supposed to be the best in town, and they were good. And I went a couple of times. And one day I was sitting there and I thought to myself, there are a lot of people here. And I'm a business owner. I had a business entrepreneur mind. So I started counting their money basically. I was like, okay, if 1,000 people came in here a day, or if 2,000 people came in here a day, the average, the average person spends this amount. How much they're making a year? And I think I came up with they probably make $500,000 a year at least. They did not hire anybody from the community. They were not giving any scholarships to anybody in the community. And I began to talk to my students about this. And my encouragement was to them was number one, start cooking your own food because this food, we're eating it and it has all kinds of ingredients in it. Some of them we know, some we don't, but it's not healthy food. So, and then they're not hiring anybody from the community, not giving any scholarships. And I told my students about this. I said, you know what? Y'all need to start opening your own restaurants and blah, blah, blah. Make a long story short, then that same plaza, a soul food restaurant opened up. Y'all, it is the absolute best soul food in Atlanta, in my opinion. I've only eaten in a couple of soul food places here, but and now it's called A1 Soul Food. You're gonna have to wait in line for 40 minutes. Let me tell you, that's how good the food is. The last time I was there, well, I didn't have to wait the last time, but the time before that, I literally waited in line, y'all, almost an hour because that food is so good and it's authentic soul food. When that soul food restaurant opened in that plaza, you know what these people did outside the community? What they did, they hired an African American person. They finally hired a person because they knew people were going to start going into the soul food place. And the soul food place, of course, they're hiring people in their community. And the food is delicious and it's healthier. You don't have any side effects. You don't have any aches and pains. I've gone in places, you eat something and you're like, I remember one time I went some place and ate something and I thought I wasn't going to make it. I'm like, what is in this food? Never went back. And that's what you got to do. We just got to stop. That's the thing. There's a long history of bad behavior. When you see this, you have to just react. You have to see them and keep going. You have to be determined that you're going to live on principle and you're going to have some values. And there's a way to have ethnic and racial pride without hating other people. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to hate them. You just have to stop giving them your hard-earned money. That young man should not have died. He should not have been killed because he was running away from the store. He was shot in the back by this store owner and he was killed. And it just grieves my heart and it should not have ever happened, but it's going to keep happening. I've seen it where when I was in the mall, other businesses set up because they like to set up in Black communities. I have seen people with my own eyes patronize these businesses, and the salesperson, the business owner, does not even say thank you, and they accept that. They accept it, and I marvel at it. I marvel how we will let ourselves be disrespected and mistreated, and we don't even think about it, and it's something wrong, and we gotta get healing, and we gotta start having a sense of self-respect. Don't give these people your money. You can't go back and return something. Again, I didn't think she would give me my money back, and I didn't expect that from her. I expected her to do an exchange. I had my receipt, the tags were on the sunglasses. I just didn't go back in there. And eventually they shut down. I'm sure some other people, you know, had a situation, something similar. Y'all stay away. Stay away. Now, here's what's really interesting, and this is some lessons. We really got to think about this. That town or that county is almost 50% Black. That county. I think it was Richland County. And yet the guy was found not guilty. We know he's not innocent, but he was found not guilty, y'all. The guy had run 130 yards away from the store, and the killer said that he shot him because he felt for his son's life. When you got video coverage, I saw it for myself. Someone has posted this man fighting girls, and I'm sure that that came out. Here's the greatest spiritual lesson, and I try to teach this to my students. I teach it to my students. The only way that we are going to survive as a people, we must come together and we must help one another. If you don't have access to a grocery store, a restaurant, whatever, we have to find other ways to get to these places by helping one another and avoiding spaces where you're really not appreciated. Every time I see one of these stories where there was some kind of racial tensions at the place, you weren't wanted there anyway. Why are you trying to go into this space? That's the greatest lesson. Stop it. There's been a long history of what people feel and what they're going to do towards you. You don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to wonder if you're going to be an exception to the rule. No, just stop going there. I do my best. Like I said, there's a hair place. Now I get some things online, but I go to this one hair place. They have hired people, ladies, young ladies and older ladies from the community, and I go in there because I say, okay, I see my people in here. And the owner was smart because at first she didn't have that. She realized that I forgot what was happening. Something was happening. Maybe it was the Black Lives Matter. I don't know. But something shifted and she started hiring our people, baby, because people stopped coming. And that's all you got to do. This young man running away 130 yards, y'all. This young man was running away and got shot and killed, and the owner is found not guilty. It grieves my heart. If we don't respect ourselves, no one else will respect us, and we're already not respected. And I'm gonna talk about in this other episode about what is happening with these African children, in this Natasha doll, and how these children are being abused. I'm a mother, I'm a teacher, and my love for children is immeasurable, it's incalculable, and it grieves my heart to see children get abused and hurt. It just grieves my heart. But again, it can stop if we do one simple thing: stop dealing with people that we know have a long history of hatred towards us and a long history of mistreatment and disrespect. It's just that simple. So I'm going to end the episode just to recap. Number one, I pray that you will pray for the family of this young man And we got to pray for ourselves as a community. We need to come together and come up with a strategy to provide support within our community without going outside of it and without spending our money in these spaces where we are not appreciated, we are not respected, and these people just want to get the money. That's all they care about. They don't care about us as human beings. They don't see us as human beings. But they're willing to set up shop in our communities because they know we'll come in there no matter what. We've got to figure out a way so that another person is not killed. This has happened before. It continues to happen. Where we don't go in these spaces. Period. We just don't go in there. Now, the only exception that I say, if you see some of us from the community working in the space, you may want to consider it. But even then, you got to proceed with caution. We got to change our attitude. You're guilty until proven innocent because there's been a long history. No child should be shot running away, running away. Now, I understand that the people, when this first happened in 2023, they vandalized and they destroyed the store. And I don't believe two wrongs make a right. I don't believe doing that was the way. The number one way, and I know I keep saying it, I know I sound redundant and repetitive, but I need to. The number one way to avoid this is don't go in their spaces. I don't care if it's a restaurant, convenience store, whatever it is, stop going into these people's spaces because the history is well recorded. They don't like you. They don't like us, but they are willing to take the money that we have and use that money to pay for their things and send their children to college and get rich and send their people money back home. Stop doing it. Do not do it. The other thing, and the greatest lesson here, I know that a single person may not have the money to start a business, to operate a convenience store, to operate a restaurant, to operate a hair store, whatever these people they have these businesses that they know that we like. But if a group of you get together, if a group of you get together, you can do have your own things, and you will not only generate money in your own community, you're doing something that's going to help the community. You're providing a product and a service that is needed. You're doing good. Now, the only way this will work is if you have character. The issue that we're having in our community is not an issue of money, socioeconomics. You could say, racism is stopping it. No, it's character. Character is getting in the way of us learning how to be righteous and come together and create our own schools, our own restaurants, our own convenience stores, whatever it is. Now, individually, it's harder to do. And I know that what I'm saying in general is probably easier said than done. But it is possible, and I have seen it. I just heard a powerful video of a young man right here in Georgia, a city in Georgia, where he got tired of seeing some things in the school system. And he and some friends, he didn't do it alone. This is the power. This is how you become powerful. He didn't do it alone. He and his friends got together and they created their own thing. You must be the answer you want to see in the world. You must create the solutions. This is the spiritual lesson. You must create the solutions. We have to stop expecting other people to come in and rescue us. Yes, we are due reparations, but let's say we don't get them. If we don't get them, now what are we going to do? In the meantime, we need to come together. It will not work alone. Come together, and if we are righteous, we can change our communities for the better. By yourself, no. But if you can, and I talk this to my students, I study how other people come here with nothing. They come here sometimes only with the clothes on their back. And the next thing you know, a year or two later, they have a house, they have a car, they have money in the bank. You know why? Because they put their resources together. They're putting their money together. When I would talk about this with my daughter, she would always say, "Well, Mom, it's a great idea, but we're not going to do it because of this and that and other." Yeah, it's because of character. If we will be righteous and we will put character over all these other things, we could do it too. And it's not even something like I talk, rent here in Atlanta is very, very high. I mean, I remember where I live, there's no bus system, but the studio apartments, they just built like some apartments. I guess those apartments, the studios are $1,600 a month. Mind you, that's not an apartment. It's not even a one bedroom. It's a studio. It's $1,600 a month, and you're not even getting. And this is not New York City. This is not the city of Atlanta. This is the suburbs. $1,600 for a studio. And you could, the average person, if they had a job and they worked hard, they couldn't even afford it. But here's what you could do. If you and three or four other righteous people got together and you all shared that space and you did it in a righteous manner, you could stockpile your money. It may not be something you do long term. You could say, okay, for 2 or 3 years, we're going to do this. We're going to do this together. We're going to save our money. Then you got to protect your money. I always have to put it in there. Save your money, protect your money. And then you branch out. You could make it. And I see it happening. I see it. I see it in my community. I see people coming together, whether they're from Africa, whether they're from Central America, whether they're from the West Indies. These people, they live together, they put their resources together, and this is how they are able to have things. Because on their own, as individuals, they wouldn't make enough money. We can do the same things. Don't hate on people, learn from them. And again, I want to say this. I believe that hate is truly like what they say. It's like that fire that is inside of you that burns you up from the inside out. And that's what this man had for the children and the people in the community. He was willing to try to make the money, but he didn't have any love for these children and the community members. Don't hate on them back. Don't do that. Just don't go in there. You don't have to, just because you just don't give them your money. Don't go in their restaurants. I'm telling you. And I'm telling you right now, if you stop going in their restaurants and eating their food, your blood pressure will start to get right, your high blood pressure, your diabetes, the cancer. Y'all, I have grieved the death of, I would say in the last 2 or 3 years, about 6 or 7 of my students have died, mainly male students. One of them died in a car accident. Well, two of them died in a car accident, actually, but the others died from health related issues. And I have concluded that it is because of the diet. It's because they're eating this food that is rich in salt and saturated fat and trans fat, and it has no nutrient base. And in others, it has also mystery chemicals in it as well. And they eat this because you got to understand Atlanta is a place where it's a lot of fast food that is consumed. And they're not eating any vegetables, they're not eating any fruit. And they start eating this stuff young. They go in these spaces and they're having all kinds of health issues. And I'm convinced it's because of what they're eating. And I can't, I'm not a doctor. I can't prove it. Now, I can be a social scientist. I could start research this and figure this thing out. But my heart grieves because these young men, all of them had children. Every last one of them had children, and they're gone. And it's because I believe it's because of the food. And so I encourage you to stay out of these spaces. And again, we got to come together and say, okay, like where I was when I was in college, when they put that store there, they were able to get customers because the elderly women had no way of getting to the grocery store. And I can tell you, there was not, now my memory, I'm trying to think, well, there wasn't a grocery store anywhere near. It was miles before there was a grocery store. I would have to, I think at one point I would get a cab or get a friend to take me to the grocery, because the grocery store was quite a significant distance from the campus. But they put their stuff there and they were selling stuff, and it was expired and it was unidentified meat. And those women went in there and my heart grieved. Now they got shut down after the Rodney King riots. The people came and they shut it down. They shut all of that down. So I want you all to know that We don't have to hate, even though people hate us. We don't have to hate, and we don't have to respond by vandalizing people's things and by being terroristic. We don't have to do what is done to us. What we got to do is simple. So this is how you change everything. You stop giving people that hate you their money, your money, your heart. Just stop it. Come together, sit down, and you cannot do this alone, and figure out a way to solve these problems together, and you can. Now, it will work. It will work if you are righteous, meaning that you have good character when you do it, and that no one is trying to betray anybody, no one is trying to get more than they should. When you have a righteous mindset and you see that it's about community and about helping ourselves and empowering ourselves, that's when everything will change. No one has to die. Well, this concludes this episode, beautiful people. I want to thank you for listening to Bad Thought Therapy. Before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my budding YouTube channel. I really appreciate you. Have a wonderful day.